Hey, yo, what's good? Check it out. This your boy Elder Sensei, one half of the legendary Artifacts. You are right now in tune to my man Tim Einenkel at the library on rapstation.com. Let's get it popping, y'all. Artifacts. Peace. Elder Sensei. I'm out.
And it's such a beautiful night. It's so luxurious, so extravagant, so remarkable. You're a piano score from Beethoven, the symphony when your face glowing, epiphanies from the chase moment, music to my ears, I could bang
on October 28th, 2016, Mickey Factz and Nottz released the Achievement Circa 82. Even though Mickey Factz has already been in the game for 10 years, the Achievement is his debut album. It features Styles P, Blue, Phonte, and many others. It's an album which exemplifies Mickey's passion for his craft as well as his appreciation for his fans. Mickey Factz, welcome to the library with Tim Einenkel and Rap.
Smicky! What's up, man?
Thanks for being here, man. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I'm excited.
The sky like a fly ghost, hearing the voice, now that's a high note. At the Winehouse with my life coach. Yeah. Love is drugs and my wife dope. Like, whoa. Know that I'ma treat you right. One time.
So like I said, the album is your debut album.
Yeah.
But sorry, you already been here 10 years in your career.
Damn.
When did the creation of the album begin for you? And then did the concept of the album change as you were developing it?
Now, the creation of it started in 2008, around February. I started working on the album February 2008, and there are like maybe 7 different incarnations of that album. So like, there's a song that I had on there, like when I first did the album, like Kid Cudi was on the first draft of it. I had like on the third draft, I had Bruno Mars on it. Like the fourth draft, I had John Legend on it. Then like the 7th draft is like you got like Yellow Wolf. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It just was so many. I recorded so many songs for the album, but it wasn't never me. It was a lot of politics with the record labels that I was signed to at those times, and they never kind of pushed the button to get this thing out. So when I started working on it with Nottz, we actually started on it late 2015. It was supposed to be an EP, but the songs were so good we decided to just make it a full-length LP. And, I called in some friends that I know, and we kind of came together, and, we created this great synergy of music,
So where was where was the majority, where were you, like, what studio, I guess, were you in when you were recording? Was it one studio? Was there one person in the studio with you at all time?
I've been in so many different studios recording this album. A lot of it was done in Gramercy Studios. My boy James Ziner, he's been recording me for the past 14 years now. I first recorded with him in 2003. He recorded my debut album, and he recorded the song with Cudi. He recorded, then when I got signed to Jive, I started recording out of their studio. So the John Legend song was recorded there. The Bruno Mars song was recorded there. The Yellow Wolf song was recorded there. I went to Tree Sound Studios in Atlanta and recorded some of the album there too, different incarnations of it. So I was all over the place just making this thing from New York to Atlanta. I never went overseas, across the country to LA to do it. Always was in New York or Atlanta.
I mean, you mentioned there was a bunch of other songs with other artists. Just to make sure that those songs are, in one way or another, they're just not on this current album.
Right, and not on this current album, no.
When you're creating an album like this, and it's taking this much time to make, how do you, as an artist, ensure that it's going to be timeless? In a way where, like, 2016, it's a great album for 2016, but it's an album that could also have been released 2010,
right. Well, there were some records that I wanted to be on the album, but once I decided that Nottz was going to be the one producer, then I had to kind of get into that kind of mode of where this is going to be, he's going to do this album and it's going to be that. But there were songs that I held on to for years thinking that it was going to make the album at one point or another.
Some People's the opening track of the album, and it starts off with your wife saying a poem.
I surmised my prize before anyone believed in me. Realized comprised of what they told me I couldn't be. God placed a legacy in my destiny, so his will for me eradicates all doubt and feeds my drive. Because of the work ethic I vested, I thrive. My talent deprived of peer validation, but I persevere because art keeps the purpose of my past so clear. Success never to be grappled by fear. My time is here.
Did she write this poem with the sole purpose of being on the album? And then for you as an artist, and even in your personal life, what's the significance of having her poem on the opening track of your album?
Well, I asked her, I wanted her to be a part of the album. And she was the beginning of a new version of myself. And being that it was the first album and I had already been married for a year, I wanted her to be a part of that. It was her first time recording. And then I made the decision that whenever I do put out another album, every time I put out an album, she'll probably open up the album. I want her words to kind of, introduce me before I start going into what I do. I think it's imperative. I think it's necessary that people hear the words from, my other half, as we begin on that journey of the album,
On the same track, you obviously take us on your beginnings, your journey.
Yes, yeah.
And you rap about cutting class, being suspended.
Yes.
How did you know that you were going to fully immerse yourself into hip hop culture and rap music? And was there a backup plan?
I didn't know. I kind of, when you're a kid, you kind of don't think about bills in the future and things of that nature. So I just kind of rapped, and I didn't even know people were I didn't know how people were making money off of music. So I kind of just did it just to do it. And then, real life hit when I was like 19. I got my first apartment, and that's when I was like, oh, I got to actually work. So, I had a job for a very long time, and then I went to school. I went to different schools. I went to Marymount College. I went to NYU, and, those things weren't for me. I wanted to study law, and then I was like, I don't want to study law no more. I want to do music. Even though I didn't know how people made money with music, I was like, this is what I want to do. It's something that's calling me to do. So I just kind of, took a leap of faith and quit my job in 2007, and then dropped out of school later that year, maybe around May, and I haven't looked back since.
Pops came to school mad, but was happy for the fact that they brought me back. I was on the loudspeaker freestyling after that. Cyphers would drag on. I was cool with Remy. Class with my Walkman on. I was super petty. Didn't have the Jordans, Pippins, or the
second track is a masterpiece featuring Blue. The words peace, P-I-E-C,
yes,
and the other word peace, P-E-A-C-E, are switched on and off in the album.
Yes.
What's the importance of having these two words as a kind of a continuous wordplay throughout the piece? Bam.
Good stuff.
And how hard, and also how hard is it to write, I guess, a song like this?
Well, Blue came up with the concept. We were talking via email. He was like, yo, this beat that you sent me sounds like a masterpiece, and we need to kind of flip the word peace as much as we can. And I was like, okay. So then he sent his verse, and when he sent his verse, I heard it and I was like, wow, he used peace a lot. I think I counted it one time. I think he did maybe 23 times. He said peace 23 times. So I had to do the job of writing a verse that didn't say the same words as he did, and make it and say as many as I possibly could, and still making it fluid. It was definitely difficult, but I got it done. And as you speaking on that, I just 2 days ago wrote the remix to it, because Pharoah Monch is going to be on the remix. So I had to write another verse with nothing but pieces and stuff like that in it. So I'm excited to see what Pharoah does. But, that verse took me a while to write, because, again, me and Blue already did piece a lot, and then I had to do more pieces. It's actually refreshing because nothing overlaps.
It's interesting you said Pharoah Monch, because when I heard the song, I automatically thought of Broken Again, where he goes 7 CCs, and I'm not going to rap it because I would kill it. But
Right.
But it was like that same type of thing, but a much longer.
For the whole track, right.
Flow hard to mimic this still one of the best spitters. I admit it. Ain't a nigga touching minds when you listen to my shit. You don't breathe, you miss a fucking
Here go my peace offering. I got the seats pouring in, street marketing, radio, peeps calling in, keep ordering, crazy flow, keep orbiting, out of space, each Morpheus, red or blue pill, need more of it.
You mentioned Blue, and you mentioned, and in the album, there's a voicemail that's played that say, I got a perfect track for you.
Right.
Is knowing that your fellow artist friend will be perfect on a track more instinctual for you, or do you look for certain beats that work, that will work for them?
Well, that's interesting too, because that voicemail It's not a real voicemail, but it was very close to being a real voicemail from 2010. He's supposed to be on a song with me called Red Sky, which is actually going to be on this mixtape we're putting out this week. When I heard the Masterpiece record, I knew that I wanted Blue on it. And what's funny about it is Blue had went on Twitter, I think, and was like, yo, I'm doing verses for like $300 or something like that. And I was like, yo, who I send the money to? He was like, man, you ain't got to send me no money. Just send me the beat. And because I had been waiting for like 8 years to get this verse from him. And I remember for his EP, he sent me 4 beats. And he was like, yo, I need, pick a beat and do a verse on it. And I, like 2 days later, I was like, no, you pick one of my verses over one of these 4 beats and you use it for your project. So I sent him back 4 verses.
Oh, wow.
And this was like 2 years ago. So then I was like, you owe me a verse. Like, come on, like, let me get this verse. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was one of those things where like, as far as like, when I heard the Masterpiece track, I was like, this is something that I really want Blue on. And it was one of the bucket list things to get a track with Blue. That's my boy. I've known him for so long. So, I'm glad we got a chance to make it happen.
The people that are on these tracks are not just great artists, but they're also your friends. But
yeah.
And that being said, just because they're friends doesn't mean that doing a track together would work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have Phonte, Currency, Styles P, Blue, of course. How much of their body of work do you need to hear prior to knowing that a track with them would make sense?
Well, I know of all of their catalog. So like Styles P, I've been a fan of for 20 years. Like that was pretty much a no-brainer. Phonte, I've been a fan since Little Brother in 2005. So that's a no-brainer. I kind of knew what he would sound like over what. Smoke DZA I've known for like 14 years. So I knew what he would sound like over that. Currency is the same way. I've known Currency for like 9 years. And he actually owed me a verse because I did something on his first album. So it was more so like, I knew he was going to do it for me. And each track, I just kind of was like, this guy would sound good on this, and this guy would sound good on this, and I just kind of knew. And plus, on Instagram, Nottz will put up the beats. And when Nottz would put up the beats, people would be like, I can hear Blue on this. I can hear Phonte on this, and I can hear Styles P on it. Like, and I would take that as like, inspiration to kind of make, and motivation to make the track actually come to fruition.
The track with Styles P.
Yeah.
Which
Insane.
Yeah. That's the word. Yes.
Insane.
Facts, it's in my name. I'm a teacher. General in the Beast War and Peace Corps. Only time you next to I is on the keyboard. Yeah. Who paid you to jump out of that window in an MC war? Cause now
it's you and him going back and forth. And you listen, you close your eyes, listen, and it's one of those tracks that if you didn't know Styles P was on it, or if you know Mickey Factz was on it, you would have think one artist is doing the whole thing.
Right.
But then I think, and I know we're in an age of emailing, like emailing your verse back and forth. But this has to be a track where both of you are in the studio together, no?
Okay, so essentially, the first person that I wanted on this track was Asher Roth. Asher was very busy working on his EP with Nottz, ironically. So he couldn't do it. The next person I wanted on there was King Los. I reached out to King Los, and he sent me a text back saying he was going to be selfish for the year 2016. I don't know what that meant, but I just kind of went along with it like, okay. So, you know what I'm saying? I just kind of went along with it. I wrote the verses. I already had the verses written out. And I did a show with Styles P in Columbus, Ohio. And, he had heard of me, and he was like, I want to see you perform. So he saw me perform, and then he was like, yo, can we do a song together? So he kind of approached me about doing a song together. And I was like, I have the perfect record for you. And he was like, as soon as we get off tour, come to the studio and we'll do it. So I went to the studio, and, I laid my verses down, and then he laid his down. Like, he smoked and just laid all of his stuff down. Like, and it was just like, it was incredible. It was a great moment for me to see, somebody who I listened to for years, like 2 decades actually, do verses on my debut album. I thought it was incredible.
You said you wrote the verse. He wrote his own verses. Or you did? I mean, did you write? He wrote the song, or?
Yeah, I had already wrote my verses.
Okay, so he wrote.
Yeah, we kind of just bounced off of each other. I would go in there, and then he would go in, and I would go in. So it made it seem like, you know what I'm saying, like we were going back and forth, but my stuff was already written.
Yeah, because there's moments where like he takes, obviously the worst from you and
Right.
kind of brings in.
Outcast with 3K tucked in this big boy account. Please show me the money, that's the way to go. Rappers is retarded on the radio. Cuba good and gifted hands, shot every rhyme. Furious styles, yep, my pops gave me lines. Wicked is as wicked does. You ain't spinning wicked.
Is that like a game that, were there moments that you or him, I don't know, maybe rewrote some stuff? Because
I did rewrite some stuff. I rewrote, I think if I'm not mistaken, I rewrote my 3rd verse and I rewrote my 5th verse. I just didn't like, no. I think I rewrote my 3rd and 4th verse. I just didn't like how they sounded. So I kind of rewrote those. Just because I just felt like, not because he did better than me. It was more so I didn't like my approach to those. So I kind of decided to rewrite.
Hip-hop Banksy to a blank sheet. Thank me for all of this art. None of the paint free. Think it's for the art, think it's for the dark. The paint ain't free, and the paint come a la carte. What's a small brain with a shallow heart?
On the track Wants, you spit, I want to bring back John Lennon and Biggie, Winehouse and Whitney. What impact did each of these artists kind of have on yourself as an artist, but also as a person?
Right. Well, John Lennon, he's, aside from music, he was a cultural icon. And I looked at him as more than an artist. He was just like, a real like humanitarian, like a real human being. And he's needed in the society now. As far as Biggie goes, I remember when Biggie passed away, I was really sad about that. It was something that it's like, wow, Big is no longer with us. So I would love him to be back. Whitney Houston, her voice is incredible. One of the greatest voices in our, time. And Winehouse, I thought Winehouse, even with her demons, she was an incredible artist as well. She bared her soul to a lot of people, and a lot of people resonated with her. So these people, I really wanted them back, and they were all inspirations to me with their music and their impact on the world.
I want fathers to take care of their kids, because their kids in need fathers to live. That's what I want. That's what it is.
When you go to Rap Genius, right? And you look at your lyrics and you go to Wants and you read it, and it kind of reads versus the other stuff as like a kind of a list.
Yeah.
Was that purposeful? The way it kind of was displayed or is displayed?
I don't think that was, but I think they kind of did it that way. When we went to Rap Genius, they asked me about the Wants, and I think they just kind of made it a special kind of post when they did that particular song.
Oh, so was that something that you wrote like? God, internet lies to me.
Yeah.
414 words.
Yes.
What's the significance of 414 to you?
414 was in my bank account at the end of 2013 after being on tour with Lupe Fiasco, and it prompted me to want to stop doing music. So I recorded that song in April of 2014. Ironic, right? That's 414 too. The second song that I did was called 414 AM. Key Wayne produced both of those songs actually. And then when I was doing 414 words, I wanted to do a trilogy, and I was like, you know what, let me just do 414 words. And I sat there and I just counted it all, and I just wanted to it was the first song I recorded too, and I just kind of wanted to get it all out there really quick,
Was there many, imagine the writing process here, is there many drafts, or like did you ever go over, under, or?
Well, the beautiful thing about it was just one long verse. So I just kind of wrote until I felt like I should stop, and I kind of stopped the first time on like 270, and then I was like, okay, I probably got maybe about another 12 bars, and then I got to put a hook on there. So it kind of was easier. It was easier than what I thought. But then I started seeing like there's a guy who did like 414 sentences, and then another guy did 414 syllables. I'm just like, wow, I didn't really realize people, were taking it that serious. But, I just wanted to do a trilogy with that. 414 words, 4:14 a.m. when I wrote the second song, and 4:14 in my bank account. And that was pretty cool.
Inside a Porsche, two-seater, few visas, new Caesar, ruler and haircut, true leader. Got him sick that
The Achievement, the last song on the track. I think it's one of the most powerful tracks on the entire album, especially if you go back to the opening track, Some People.
Right.
And you just think about how these two tracks relate to each other. Because it shows that your love for the art form and your big appreciation to your fans. Is this track placement purposeful for you? And then what do you want your listeners? How did you want your listeners to leave the album listening as The Achievement as the last song?
Yeah, I always knew that was going to be the last song on the album, and I wanted to be very honest and put a lot of my emotions on that last song, as well as a lot of the achievers on that song. And I wanted to let the fans know that, that I'm not going to stop this time. I'm going to just keep going. And, the last acapella verse was, letting people know that, Mouse 2 was coming, Mickey Mouse 2. So I think it was essential that I got, that all of that done.
Spice, weed, smoke, pepper pot, think of Tony Starks. Cold turkey, getting money, I don't try the drugs.
One thing that stood out to me is that the album is only 10 tracks.
Yes.
I don't know why this is standing out to me. Maybe ADD. But we're in an age of like you get an album and it's like 15 tracks, right?
Right.
And that seems to be the average. But this one's 10. I mean, is 10 a significant number to you, or could you have gone more?
Yeah, 10 years it took me to finally put the album out. 10 songs. I wanted it to be reminiscent of Illmatic, as well as Commons B.
I thought about Illmatic when I...
Yeah.
10, yeah, nice.
Commons B had 11 songs, but it was close. It was damn near close to being perfect. So, I kind of wanted it to be in that same vein of, 10 songs. Very short, very sweet, but enough to kind of, indulge in. So that was the purpose of it. I didn't want to put too many songs. The more songs you put on an album, the more chance for error you have. So I kind of wanted to keep it as short as sweet as possible.
10 years debut album was last year, 2016, and we're talking about that now. Knowing where you are now in your career, do you ever wish like, oh, I wish my debut album was actually when I came out my first year, or are you kind of happy where happy that this kind of all happened like this?
I definitely wish it came out earlier. Because, my peers are they're way ahead of me. They're on their 4th albums. And, some of my mixtapes can be considered albums, but they're not official albums. So, a lot of my peers are, way ahead of me. So, that always kind of eats up at me. But for the most part, I'm kind of cool with it. I'm glad it came out now. And, I'm glad people enjoy it now. I would have loved for it to come out earlier, any year before 2016. But the fact that it did come out now and people enjoy it, that's all that matters to me, really.
Is there one, just last question, is there one track on this album that kind of defines where you are now as an artist? Or one verse or one line, maybe?
That's a good question. Well, thinking about the album, I would say I'm Good. That song is pretty much, where I am with it right now. Just kind of more relaxed and more laid back with it, as opposed to, everything else on the album. It's more riding music, more kind of chill vibe music. That's what I'm kind of going to start moving towards.
Mickey Factz.
Mickey!
New album.
The Achievement with Nottz.
With Nottz Circa 82.
Go pick that up. Go stream it on all streaming sites. It's out there, man. Appreciate everybody who tuned in. And, I got a mixtape dropping this week, depending on when this airs. It's called Rare Freestyles and Unearthed Works, Volume 1. And then I'm going to probably put out an EP later on, and then album with Key Wayne titled Ascension. And then Mickey Mouse 2 in December. That's what we're doing.
Factz, thank you for joining me at the library, Tim Einenkel.
Thank you very much, man.
Everything straightforward.
I'm good.
You sure you aight, homie?
I'm good.
What up, Joe?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's what they call me. That's what they call me. I burst so many things. Take me to Murray, let the beat ride. Tell the driver, please take me to the seaside.
Konnichiwa.
Wifey looking plush while I'm in the cut with a cup counting up. I don't do much. Roof in the trunk, put the luggage in the front. Polo cup, let a brother stunt.
From the jump.
Everything is everything. I got a little bit of everything. I don't need anything.
I don't need anything.
Said I don't need anything.
Shit, I don't need anything.
Nah, everything straightforward.
I'm good.
You sure you aight, homie?
I'm good.
What up, Joe? Yo.
I'm good. I'm good.
God is good, homie, God is good.
God is good.
I had dreams of getting out the hood.
Out the hood.
Mama still trying to go to Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Still fly, get a lot of looks. H-Town sound all around.
Yeah.
From the boogie down.
Yeah.
You know where I'm found. Yeah, I got the crown. Everything looking how it should, how it should. That's for me and my drink. We good.
We good.
Everything is everything. I got a little bit of everything.
Got a little bit of everything.
I don't need anything.
I don't need anything.
Said I don't need anything.
Shit, I don't need anything.
Nah, everything straightforward.
I'm good.
You sure you aight, homie?
I'm good.
What up, Joe? Yo.
I'm good. I'm good.
Everything straightforward.
I'm good.
You sure you aight, homie?
I'm good.
What up, Joe? Yo.
I'm good. I'm good.